So hello and welcome to this first look, first patches, first video with the final version of the E520 Hyperion Effects Processor from Synthesis Technology.
We step out of our solar system.
Now up front, I'd like to thank Synthesis Technology for sponsoring this video, and of course more content is to come. We're going to do a deep dive on the time-based effect and the spectral effects in the future with this module. But this first video is really just a look at the first handful of patches that I played with when this went in the case, looking at various effects, different patches for each, and playing around. There's the quick start guide from Chris Meyer of Learning Modular linked in the description. There's also the prototype videos I did when this was a larger PCB bolted onto a bit of MDF, and all those videos go much deeper into some of the earlier algorithms that you're getting, plus a lot more in the final version of the E520. Timing index is on screen if you wish to skip around. Let's just get into some effects and some patches. So here's my input, a simple snare sound, and with the pattern delay, let's take it off bypass. We have left and right patterns, tons of control, a secondary pattern which you can see underneath those left and right patterns, which we can change the density of, and then fade across to. So it's quite nice to have less dense patterns and different patterns on the left and right, and a denser secondary pattern. So here's quite a minimal melody with lots of space between the notes, scattered around really nicely with the pattern delay. There's some drums and just some fading bass in the background. I'll remove those for now. So this is a fun patch where I'm treating the E520 as this whole kind of West Coast boucle surge-esque playground of harmonics. Now there's a kick pinning down this patch, which I'll let you listen to. And then in the left and right sides are two low-pass gates taking the stereo output hard left and right for each side of the E520 into those two low-pass gates struck by a divide 3 and a divide 5, so they're playing off of each other in stereo. There's also some LFOs modulating these low-pass gates, and you can see from the graphics on screen, feedback's being modulated, the morph of the wave is being modulated, and the left-right phase is being modulated by further free-running LFOs. Now I'm sequencing the carrier here, and I'm using the ring mod mode in the frequency shifter mode. All that's coming into the E520 is a droning triangle wave. So here's an absolutely beautiful example of how the E520 can sound. This is a flanger algorithm, the diffused flanger. Flanger? And it's certainly not like any other flanger that I've used before. It's more like this lovely reverberant, echoing diffused wash. I'll play around with some settings. Of course, I'll bypass it so you can hear the dry sound. It's a kind of rich FM additive like sound that's already quite modulated before it comes in. So I'll hit bypass and then we'll play around and just immerse ourselves in this diffused flanging. So here's a rather noisy loop of speech, and this is coming in completely dry at the moment. This is bypassed. I'll unbypass this into the Spectral Time Machine where I'm recording and overdubbing live, repitch and retime this voice. Let's have a play around.
Of the planet Earth, I send greetings on behalf of the people of our planet. We step out.
We step out of our solar system into the universe,
Seeking only peace and friendship, to teach
if we are called upon, to be taught if we are fortunate, seeking only peace. We know full well that our planet and all its inhabitants are but a small part of this immense universe that surrounds us.
and it is with humility and hope that an organization of 147 member states who represent almost all of the human inhabitants of the planet Earth, I send greetings on behalf of the people of our planet. We step out of our solar system.
So here's a simple but slightly wonky beat with some off gate delayed timing between the hi-hat, snare and kick. The E520 is in the Chowder Delay. This is bypassed, and when I turn it on, we'll hear some swells, glitches and stutters kind of spattering around this beat. I'll go fully wet so that's really obvious as to what's going on. And going for some dry wet blend. We can play around with division of these chops, probabilities. Let's try some feedback. So here's the phaser on a chord drone that has some added noise on top of it. If I bypass the E520, you can hear all of this. It's going into some reverb as well, and this is the dry sound. Now with a single stage of phasing, it's almost like a nice soft tremolo in stereo, and the way that kind of spreads across the stereo field is affected by the phase of the LFO. You can hear both sides are now moving together. We can emphasize that with the all pass mode. Shift that back out in stereo. And back to the phaser. And that's just a look at some of the first patches I've made from putting the final release version of the E520 in my case. Of course, go check out the prototype videos that I'll link below for lots more content. With earlier versions of these algorithms, you're getting all of that and more in the release version. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm going to do a deep dive into the time-based effect and spectral effects. And if there's anything you'd like to ask, I can try and get that in the videos that come in the future. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.